Bacon, no bacon, no bacon, no bacon,
Bacon, no bacon.
Podcast. Camera 3.
Oh, excited.
3 camera, bacon, no bacon. We should add bacon, no bacon, prosciutto.
Bacon, no bacon prosciutto would be great for me. I'd take it.
All right.
No bacon. You all right, buddy?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Welcome. You finally made it. People have been writing to me like, hey, is Abdul come yet? I'm like, nope, he's afraid.
I'm here, man. I've made it.
You did?
I've made it all the way from the West Island to the South Shore.
Welcome to the 450.
Cheers, buddy. We're
Cheers.
first time in the same vicinity.
Yeah, right.
Hey? This is new.
It's new in that we haven't seen each other in a while, but I think you've always been afraid to catch something from me. Every time we're out together, you're like, you have any wet naps? We need lots of wet naps.
I'm always worried about catching something from you.
Shook hands
Every
with
time we go on the
Frenchie
road
here.
and you're just coughing your lungs out in the car, and I'm like, are you sure you don't have something? I'm worried, man.
Oh, man. So here we are in the yard.
How's it
The
going,
flower
man?
box is new since you were here last.
The flower box is new. It is new, yeah, man. That's a cool. You've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yep.
You've been working, man. You're doing it's good. It keeps you to keep your mind busy.
Yeah, and it's at this point, yeah, it's a bit, I'm feeling the poverty now, so
So
it's
you
good to
started
keep
building?
my mind. It's good to keep my mind occupied. Yeah, well, I guess I've run out of home improvement budgets now, so
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start helping other people home improve their home.
Yeah, help people do stuff. That's fun.
Distract myself
Okay.
with their money.
And then this way, if you screw up, it's not your problem.
Right. I just leave.
Just walk
I'm
away.
a comedian. What? You're the idiot that let me come in here and fucking build your shit. I didn't know there was a water main under here. What the fuck?
How do you even check if
dick
there's
jokes? Did you know where I come from? You've read my CV.
Who saw HBO and thought home contractor?
Yeah. This
Home
guy will be
building
great to
operations.
set up my new electrical panel. Okay.
You should call if you do end up becoming a general contractor and you open up a business, you should call it HBO.
HBO, yeah. And I have to find some witty acronym for
The
that.
home business, home building operation. Home
Right.
building.
I was thinking of calling the company Not to Code.
Not
Just
to
so
code.
Nobody is expecting me to go in there with some kind of textbook execution.
The city inspector.
It's like there'll be a lot of pishnuding in the thing.
The city inspector comes into the house to take a look at everything and make sure if it's up
Just
to
my
code.
autograph on all this gabosh stuff.
Where's the
here's another
certification?
There's another pishnut over here. Oh, look
That's
at
your
that.
certification level. Is just your signature on
Bubblegum
it.
as a wire twist. That's pretty good. Never seen that before.
Electrical problem. Take the filter out of your cigarette pack and just twist it on. Connect your 2 wires with aluminum foil from your cigarette pack.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Things are. This is our first time hanging out.
Yeah. It's great. It's good
in
to
the
see
same.
you, buddy.
It is good to see you in the same area, man. It's better than sitting. I don't hate it, but after a while, like a few times in between is okay doing it remotely, but.
Yeah,
It's nice to be in the same room.
I've never felt trapped. Like a lot of people are feeling they feel trapped.
Yeah.
I guess because when I'm not on the road, I just basically stay here all the time anyway. And I'm like, when it's time to go to the grocery store, I'm like, I have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So, I haven't felt trapped very much. I've noticed a lot of people do, so I sympathize that it's a different situation.
Do you feel like people are getting a little on the edge?
Yeah, people are antsy. The suicide rate apparently was shot up in the last month.
Really?
Yeah, it's very sad.
Like a noticeable,
like
a big amount,
like 5% or something.
5%.
Yeah,
I guess that's pretty big, right? It's a lot of people that are
I don't know,
5% up to people, but yeah, because people usually suicide season's not in the summer. This
No.
is odd.
I don't even know how. I try
The fact that there's a suicide season.
I'm trying
Isn't it
to
in
stay
the
away
winter?
from all the bad news. Angela last night was trying to show me that George Floyd video,
Yeah.
and I don't want to see it. This
No.
time.
I don't like watching it.
Because that's the thing. I've been, for the first month or two, especially we have a podcast now, so I look at the news differently, like at these talking point that we could talk about. So I've been reading and watching more news, and I find since Donald Trump and since just the world seemed to be changing so much, I'm really trying to understand what did I miss? Because like I've said on the show before, I always thought most people have a similar morality to me, and different, politically or economically. If you're more conservative, I get it. But morally speaking, I assume that, like, if we're throwing out a number, like 75% of people have the same similar moral thing to me. And now, when you really look deep and you look at the things going on in the Western world, specifically in Canada and the United States, I'm realizing that it's like, no, it's like I'm in a group of like 40 to 50% of the people that care about other people, that are kind, that are not hateful to any groups. And it's sad. Like that fucking cop just kneeling on the guy who's begging him, and he's handcuffed.
I'm surprised they show it so much on the news, because it's basically you're watching a murder go down.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a cop.
You
should know that
government
putting pressure
murder
on someone's neck is cutting off their air supply. Like, you should know that, right? If they hand you a gun, you should at least know that.
You're supposed to know basic. Life-saving technique.
So they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't not know. Your knee is on the guy's neck. What do you think? That's where you breathe. It comes right through that. You can't do that. And he's just on. Like, it's a murder. The fact that they keep playing it on the news, like, I saw it again this morning, and I'm like, can we stop? Like, this is not good. This is like first of all, yeah, it's kind of desensitizing. Have you been reading a lot of the articles? I've seen a few articles, like, a lot of the black community saying the fact that, like, it's nice that you keep giving us our sympathies and you feel and sharing the video, but how about sharing, black people doing things that are not always just them being murdered?
Yeah.
So that it normalizes their culture, their lifestyle, to just like, okay, so you can accept it as an everyday thing, as opposed to just like the only time you see them is when they're getting murdered by a cop.
See, their culture, their lifestyle. If you've come from another country, okay, but if you were to ask me, I would think that their culture and their lifestyle is the same as mine.
Well, culturally, they come from,
everyone's different.
Depends on what, you know what I find, though? I find, like, it's, what I've realized moving to America is, there's an American black culture that we don't get to see as much. We see it through TV and movies and that, but you don't experience it, because most black people in Canada are from either different, like, they're first generation or second generation immigrants.
Caribbean and
they come from the West Indies or Jamaica or Africa, wherever it is. They're usually like immigrants, Haiti, but in America they're like generations of black people from America. So they have their own culture, their own way of life, and things that they do in their communities, but you don't see it. The only thing you see is we're only like exposed to things in movies or music, like, oh, Compton, that's like, where do black people live mostly? And you think like, oh, first thing someone will yell is that, right? But it's not. It's like that. But that's what we're exposed to. We're not exposed to like the good part. They're successful. Black
I agree
people.
with what you're saying,
we don't see that.
because it's a problem. I agree with you, but they're just people. I don't know why we have to differentiate the people part. Like, if we want, we could point out a lot of black people that did great things. There's Barack Obama became president. Oprah Winfrey is huge
pioneer.
But they're just people that are doing good
show
things.
Business.
There's white people. There's a lot of fucking white people doing terrible things, and nobody's
but you don't see that,
kneeling on their neck to death. You know what I mean?
That's the other
Case in point, the president of the United States. If there's any neck I wouldn't mind seeing somebody kneel on. Anyway. But did you know the first ever, not only first ever black valedictorian from Princeton University, first Canadian valedictorian,
I think from Montreal, I think.
From Montreal, yeah, super
very cool, yeah.
I was more bouleversé or whatever.
Like
it was more cool to me, the Canadian part than black. I'm like, well, there's like 40% of the population of that country is black. That's weird.
But I think Princeton is like historically known of racism, so it's crazy.
Like 20 years only that it's been like it was like a secret. We have to take in like 6 this year. How could you even think of people like that? You know what I mean? Like, especially in America, like you're saying, they're generations and generations. They have the same name as all the white people because they lost their actual name through slavery and that. So you get a CV, Kevin Smith, whatever, Kevin Jones, and you show up and He have to come to the interview. On paper, he's perfect candidate.
Right.
Come to the interview, and that's when you decide not to let him into the school. It just doesn't compute to me. Racism is so fucked up to me that it don't compute, but it's clearly something that exists.
There's a quota on things in the white world. You know, that you have to, I mean, it happens in show business. Like, what do you think? With TV, it's like our quota of ethnicity needs to happen. People think of it as like, oh, well, there's always that argument of like, well, best man for the job. We're not here about quotas.
Right.
Which I get. But you know what? A lot of times the best man for the job gets knocked, just doesn't make it because, first of all, they're not friends, they're not in that circle, or because they're a different color.
Yeah, our business has a million
so many weird things where you see like it's almost like a pat on the back more than it's like, okay, well, you're not trying to find the best. You're just trying to check a box off.
That, and you know how I feel about that. I hate it.
I know, yeah.
It's hard for a white man, though, to say that publicly. Like, what the fuck? When did this festival become the LGBTQ?
Yeah, or just pandering to whatever minority group is hot at the moment. You know, what's selling the tickets right now? Let's cater to that
I get
minority
the selling
group.
the tickets part. I get the selling, and you know, the comedy fans can be very supportive group of people.
Yeah.
That funny, not funny. If they decide they support a particular wing of comedy, they will buy the tickets. So I get the selling the tickets part, but to me, it's so short-sighted. Because, okay, you're getting a new group that support the LGBTQ community, for example. As, you know, when there seems to be a bigger percentage of, you know... Like, as soon as the group in question is a greater percentage of, like, a festival or a lineup in a show or... than the actual percentage of that group in general society... You're like, what the fuck's happening? Really, do you feel proud because you get to check? This person's not funny, though.
Yeah.
It's so not long-term vision. Yeah. People that have been going to the Halifax Comedy Festival, they've been going every year for 15 years.
Yeah.
You put on a garbage show, they're not going to come next year.
Yeah.
Right? So, you've gotten one new person
it's
that bought
a new demographic that they're bringing in, though.
But so next year, they'll be supporting fucking lepers in fucking... Ghana, so they're not gonna buy here. The people that were here 15 years, you gave them a shit show, and they can't really relate to it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but it's weird because they still do it. Like, they must be selling tickets. They do that. They do it often. It's been a few years that we've been seeing that, like in festivals and in the not only festivals but television, and you're seeing. Dude, did you know this?
They get praised too. They get praised. People love praise.
Well, yeah, but to get back to the topic of the fact that like we're checking off boxes. Did you know that the Kim's Convenience in Canada, the TV show?
Yeah.
Did you know like up until it's a great show. It's really good and it's getting better. But did you know at the start, the first or one or two seasons, there was not a single ethnic writer in the writers' room? Did you know that? How can you write a show about Koreans with not a single ethnic person?
The creator wasn't even...
The creator, yeah.
Okay.
But even the creator was brought on as a showrunner, and the showrunner creator was brought on as a showrunner. If I'm not mistaken, I got to double check, but I think that he was brought on as a showrunner, but they have two showrunners.
Okay.
They've got a white guy.
The figurehead.
And they've got a Korean guy who created it.
Yeah.
As every other show, it would just be one showrunner.
Of course.
So it's pretty strange. Like we talk about that a lot. Like it seems like they're checking off boxes. Like you watch the CBC and you go, wow, what are they checking off another box again with this new show that they're doing? You know, you see a new one pop up all the time. You're like, oh great, another thing.
Little Mosque on the Prairie.
Little things like that. Although that was a very successful show. That show actually did very well internationally as well.
Really?
Yeah, that show did very well for the CBC.
Like it?
I watched a few. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was bad.
I didn't watch enough of it to have an opinion, but I know people that worked on it.
Yeah.
And everyone say season 1.5 were actually good, something to be proud of, and then garbage.
Yeah, because of course they probably came in and they just wanted to check off boxes after that. Like,
and that's
really
the thing
check
with
them
Canadian show business,
they
right? The show gets a little bit of success, and then some hotshot producer, director, the show, I want to run this show. And they're like, oh my God, we're so lucky to have you. You worked on Everybody Loves Raymond as a caterer, but doesn't matter. Here, come on in, take over our fucking show, turn it into the same garbage that you're spewing out on the fucking CW network or whatever. That's what happened with the Devators TV. No offense to the guy that did it, but they thought, oh, he's got American and sitcom experience. Let him run this not sitcom show,
Right.
and turned it into a fucking Family Feud with professional performer. We don't need the whole.
You say, the television show,
Yeah.
Debaters television
Yeah.
show. Yeah. It was
The radio show just needs 4 cameras
Just
set up
need
on
cameras,
it and
yeah.
let it fucking live like that, and it would be great.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just going to a live show of that seems it's so fun to watch.
So great. Like stand-up special, it's 2020, and they're still crushing us. See, Netflix is putting out 4 or 5 a month.
Yeah.
And it's just a guy with a curtain. See, you don't
Right.
need to
Yeah.
jazz it up. See, maybe the intro to say you have
Yeah.
a production value intro.
Yeah.
But let the performer is the performer. That's the thing. So the Debaters is just shoot
Yeah.
the fuck what we're doing.
I wonder if it's like a case of like it's just people need to justify their jobs. Remember we were talking about that,
It's
like how it's
exactly
just
that.
yeah, people just need to have a reason to be around still, even though you're irrelevant. Like
Yeah.
like now you see everything is moving to just doing it on like from a iPhone in your kitchen or whatever. Like every news anchor, every TV talk show, everything's just happening from their living room now.
Yeah.
And
It's only like 5% less watchable.
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's
So
not-
you're trying to now I think it's going to take a shift. I mean I feel like it has no, unless those people who want to justify their jobs have a stranglehold, which probably they do because most of those things are all unionized, so they can hold them down,
Right.
and kind of keep them
Or
in
it'll make
place.
them step up their game. Like
Hopefully.
show us why we're
Hopefully.
spending this extra money.
Exactly.
But on a show like The Debaters, it's so good just to let it live. It never crossed anybody's mind that, hey, we got this huge budget approved. Instead of spending $180,000 building a set
Yeah,
in this studio,
yeah,
why don't we pay the performers double minimum wage instead of minimum wage? Really?
yeah. No, I
Because we
know.
all got extra minimum wage
Wow.
for live TV performance.
Wow, that's crazy.
Why not pay these Canadians that made this show after 10 years
Yeah.
of being a show?
Oh man, thank you, Reese. Look at this. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
We're out here partying in the backyard next door
Thank
to
you so
Shangri-La.
much, pal.
Yeah, instead of pay them more. Let them people, the
The
writer,
people that everyone's
you know
watching.
What? Hire
Because we're the writers and the fucking performers.
You know what? Take that budget and like hire writers to work with artists to get like to really, like if you can make it any better,
Yeah.
just do it. I mean, that's what sells is the content, not what it looks like.
Content!
It's a weird. It's like everyone has to have their like, dude. When I shot the commercial. Like you've shot things. When you shoot them, sometimes you're like, I've done streeters where it's just me.
Yeah.
And my uncle used to come film my streeters when I would do them. You know,
Right.
back in the day.
And-
Just me and my uncle. And dude, I would shoot streeters like that sometimes, for like different things. And man, the whole crew. There was like someone to hold my water bottle. Like, I don't
I know.
need that.
Don't tell. Yeah, so we're talking like
Like, give that money to
30
me.
times the budget.
Yeah, just give that money
Don't
to
tell
me.
me that this is 30 times better
I feel
than
like
what you did by yourself with
No.
your uncle.
No.
You can't get 30 times better.
No.
See, unless it's like
Literally-
4D and the TV show is licking your asshole.
The camera is probably the only thing you're worth spending money extra money on. Spend it on an amazing camera that looks so good,
And somebody to operate it.
and someone that can operate
Maybe
that.
2 people to operate it because it's
That's
a good
it.
camera with a
We had-
remote fucking focus and
Yeah.
all that.
That's it. You don't need 10 other people, all these other people on set to run around, coordinate things, and like, dude, it's so simple.
I know
You
a
don't
lot of
need
people
that.
that make their living like that. I'm not saying take away their jobs. I'm
No,
just
but
saying
they could be used for other things where you actually
It's-
need that much.
it's the
people.
gatekeepers that
Yeah.
just make all the wrong decision, and I'd say 10% of these gatekeepers, the people that decide who are getting on a show, who's gonna get a show to make,
Yeah.
they have
Well, do you think it's more
less
production?
qualification, I feel, than I do myself.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like
100%, dude.
how did you get
Do you
there?
think anyone who's ahead of a comedy network or comedy programming at any network
is even remotely
is even funny? You
Yeah,
think
yeah, I know,
like
I know.
you think you'd want to hang out with the
Yeah.
person that runs I'm sure there's definitely a few. I mean, I know a few, but there's
Yeah, it's a fucked
they've
up.
never probably told a joke that they came up with. You know,
or that
it's
worked.
that
Yeah.
worked, that actually worked. It's it's those things that make it frustrating, I think, as artists when you're trying to make funny and then you're working your ass off and then you see somebody just sitting back programming it, doing nothing good, and they're making a fortune, and you're like, yeah, but just give me that money. I'll put the extra work in.
And we're shitting on our own industry because the industry is like so up in the question.
It's
right
dead
now.
anyways now. There's no more industry. Let's call them all out.
Yeah.
They're all done. Let's take them down. This is it. This is the industry right now. It's just you building stuff and us
trying to
filming.
figure out how to get shit out on the internet.
Yeah. That is the industry really
and
right
are we
now.
killing the industry because we're giving all this content, we're giving it away, you know?
I wonder.
We're creating microeconomic things like on my online shows, people can pay $1 or whatever they want to pay.
Yeah.
But it's not going through
I wonder what the ratings
a network and then
Yeah. I wonder what the ratings are on like those like Colbert or
Are they still putting them on television, or I see them online all the time, but are they also on television?
I think so. I think they're still on television.
Yeah. The
they're still on
Seth Meyers
television.
one I know is still on television.
For sure, yeah. So
and he's doing it. He's crushing. His monologues I find better without a studio audience.
I feel like Seth Meyers was always set up to not have a studio audience. I feel like his sense of humor almost works better without it.
Yeah.
Because they are funny,
the audience will have an IQ mix from 50
he's
to
very
150.
smart. It's a smart,
Where people that tune into the show on purpose are, you got to be to get the joke, the sardonic and sarcastic nature of some of his jokes and humor.
Yeah.
You have to have a minimum knowledge and a minimum intelligence.
Yeah.
So with no audience, it doesn't. So the audience laughing in the wrong place can fuck up his timing. Where in the attic, he's got nobody to fuck up the delivery of his joke. I find he's doing.
I think he's doing the best.
I enjoy him more without the audience.
Yes.
Jimmy Fallon, I think, thrives with an audience.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting to see how it's. Well, I mean, YouTube kids have been doing it for what, a decade now without an audience in their bedroom, just making videos. And people are watching them.
Their audience is the crew that make the YouTube. Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, they survived. They actually thrive. They figured out how to make more money than all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
So it's not that it's you don't need the big budget. You don't need all that. I mean, of course, we're trying to do it here. We're trying to just build our own audience and put out content on our own. And we have no money. No one pays us. We're putting it all out of our own pocket.
Free T-shirts, though. Thank you,
We got
Chico.
free T-shirts.
Thank you,
Finally
Chico.
got it. Finally.
Yes, Abdul is the
Able to leave the
voyage of
house?
Abdul and his T-shirt. No one's ever worn that T-shirt before, right, everybody? We all know that is a fresh, brand new T-shirt.
It smells like Export A blue. I wonder if the guy who made this was smoking cigarettes heavily while he was printing the bacon.
I told
no
him when you
bacon.
put it on, you're gonna have ample room stretched out for you in the back ass area. You're gonna.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's what we're starting off. This is cool. We got free shirts.
I've got some free coffee for you inside
Free
too from
coffee.
Stereo Coffee Roasters. Thank you very much, Stereo Coffee Roasters.
Yeah, Stereo. Thank you.
Sorry,
I'm gonna try
WhatsApp.
it.
This is the first
do a little
episode
video.
not shot with the help of WhatsApp. WhatsApp, a fantastic application from Facebook. Your friends at Facebook that allow you to communicate way before Zoom ever happened. You got WhatsApp. Communicate with anybody all over the world by telephone or video calling. WhatsApp, Sean O'Donoghue, Vice President. Look him up. I'm connected. Feel free to send us money. We need bacon.
I like that. That was a good plug for WhatsApp.
Yeah,
We get no money from that as of now.
Yeah, we listen.
leave
We
it- we'll
listen
leave
to
it
so many
open.
podcasts. I'm just practicing for when we actually get sponsors. I could just slip it in there incognito. Oh yeah, this episode brought to you by Benches Are Us. Fucking Google it. Buy a bench, receive a hug.
We should get Renault Depot to sponsor us. That'd be cool.
Fuck, right? There's
Look at all the wood.
$10,000
Look how much
of Renault
lumber
Depot.
you have in your
I
backyard.
know. We could zoom around my yard and there's $10,000 of a Renault Depot back here.
Yeah, this is.
In fact, the fucking Costco fire pit that I've talked about, that's what my tripod is set up on right now. If you've ever seen the story about Costco,
that's like they can see it on the camera up there.
up there. You are sitting on the $129 fucking Costco fire pit that started this whole Shangri-La experience.
So you started with a fire pit and then you
And
built,
then I'm like,
built
it needs
outward.
I wanted to get the bricks to make it look pretty. And then the bricks cost $300 and then it looked too pretty. I'm like, well, fuck, we need to get a nice
Wait,
bench.
you paid $300 for those bricks? Are they because of the
260?
but because of the fire?
They're not even fire or anything.
Because they can't withstand the heat.
The only thing I could.
Why would you pay that much?
I talk about it on stage in the show, because like a regular brick, a rectangle brick, it's like 50 cents. But these ones are curved, like have an angle to make, when you connect them all, it make a circle. So apparently geometry in the whole brick manufacturing is a very expensive procedure.
Really?
These are like $8 a brick.
Yeah. It shouldn't be less. There's less material.
I know.
It goes in on the inside.
I guess they're shaped to look like natural stone or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of natural stones in circular shapes just out there.
Yeah.
Just, but yeah, no, that's cool. You did a good job. I like the backyard.
Thanks,
you got all
man.
this lumber happening here.
Thanks. Flower box,
the staircase.
I'm going to help my friend James build one of those tomorrow.
That's awesome, man. This is it's a very nice flower. I thought it was lower to the ground when you posted a picture. I didn't think it was so high.
All the professional gardener, like Angela's mom's a real big gardener. She came over. She's like, "You didn't. That's not all the way to the ground of earth." And I'm like, well, it's got layers. I made it like it's like a baked Alaska, this thing. I've got a layer of firewood on the bottom, and then grass clippings on top of that, and then newspaper, and like newspaper barrier or whatever to rot slowly. Yeah. And then compost on top, and then like, I don't know, like 40 bags of earth on top of it.
Is there a benefit to going this high, or is it just for the
Apparently,
look?
I'm an idiot. All the gardeners are saying, you wasted so much earth. You spent like $50 too much in earth. You just need 18 inches of earth. And blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you've been getting comments on the build?
On how much waste I did.
That's funny.
The floor is not on the floor, so it's this high off the ground.
Yeah.
And then I build a floor, so I can control everything. And the theory, I was reading about it. Before I do anything, I research it to learn about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think I went overkill with the awesomeness of it, but consider I'm growing like fucking 2 cucumbers and and some basil or whatever, and a carrot. But it's like a European technique when you have small space. The wood now for the next 20 years will be slowly decomposing, which reinserts nutrient into the soil, right? The newspaper, same thing. As it's deteriorated, give back. I put like compost in there, so there's eggshell and all that. So now I'm composting over there.
Oh man, you got
and
a compost
every fall
too.
I'll probably just crack a dozen eggs in there and let it seep into the soil.
Crack the eggs in there or the shell?
No, the eggs, the actual eggs.
Is the eggs good for it?
Yeah, eggs are good for everything.
Really?
I don't know. I think I read that. I don't know. Even your dog, you should give a raw egg to your dog a couple times a week.
Just picture you egging someone's house and they come out like, what the hell? This is good for you. You'll thank me later.
Your azaleas will blossom.
Man, that's hilarious. I knew eggshells are supposed to be good. You crush them up and
in there too. There's all that shit.
Put them in the compost and that would crack a couple eggs in there. I didn't know Rocky was building. You were growing Rocky in your flower bed.
Think about it. As the egg rots, it gives off nutrients.
Nutrients. Yeah, I'm sure anything. Throw some bacon in there. Maybe see what happens.
I actually in there. Sometimes I do bacon in the microwave when you want it really crispy for like Caesar salad. You don't know anything about
I don't know. You got to inform me.
But the paper towel seeps up all the bacon fat.
Okay.
So I shredded that up and it's in there too. Bacon fat.
That's good.
Bacon fat paper towels.
Paper towel turns into compost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to find all these little tricks and tips.
And sometimes it's nothing. No one specifically said put bacon grease paper towels in there, but I'm like, this has got to be good.
It's got to be, yeah.
It rots like
you're your own
else.
scientist, buddy. You don't need anybody to tell you what works.
We'll see. What if I have a world champion cucumber coming out of there?
That's it.
No one will be doubting me then.
It's that fucking bacon grease. Thank God for those paper towels.
Yeah. Really first cucumber ever that has 9,000 calories in it. It's weird.
What's your secret, Derek Seguin? He's got a bacon, no bacon shirt on. I die with the secret. I compost with the secret.
What time are we at?
We're at 30 minutes for everybody wondering why Derek is staring at his camera awkwardly.
Using my viewfinder to
What's
check my
going
nose
on in
hairs.
there?
What's going on? Am I out there?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say before. I feel like we skipped away from the George Floyd thing. The fact that racism is alive and well, and it's sad. Arthur Simeon, if you don't follow him already on social media, Arthur Simeon put a very personal and revealing thing today on Facebook, I think it was, where and Arthur is first generation. He's an immigrant from Africa, and it's eye-opening. I think it's sad to say, as a white person, I try not to be. I hate racism. I know that.
Yeah.
But for all of us bleeding heart a little bit, it takes a George Floyd to that happen, and we're like, oh my God, I'm sickened by this. And Arthur was kind of speaking on behalf of the black community, if you will, but for anybody who shares is like, yeah, okay, that's really nice, but after a while, as a community, we're like, fuck off. Instead of, how about you do something?
Yeah.
If you really feel that we don't need your thoughts and prayers anymore. We need our brothers and sisters to stop being murdered. Yeah. So vote properly. There's people filming that, and it's easy for me to sound like a hero now. But if I'm standing there, I'm like, hey man, you hear people saying, hey man, he can't breathe, let him go. I don't fucking care if he's a police. If he's hurting an innocent person, I will tackle him, and then I'll be the next victim, I guess.
I was just, as you were saying that, I was thinking, like, what do you do?
Like, I've been beat up by the cops 3 times, so I know it's possible for white people to get beat up by the cops. Trust me. You might have to be a cocksucker white person like me, but...
You have to say a lot of bad things for them to beat you up. A person
well, if I
of
tackle
color,
him, I assume that's pretty...
yeah, and even at that, you'd probably still would have not gotten nearly as bad as what anyone of color would have gotten for...
Yeah,
and that's just the reality, man. I feel like, I don't know, I can't speak for Arthur, but I know...
They haven't been arrested yet either, these police. They were fired, but they weren't arrested.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get away with it. To tell you the truth, I mean, how many times have we seen that happen? And cops always get away with it.
One time we saw that woman that went into the guy's apartment and shot him.
Yeah.
Because she thought it was her apartment. You know what I mean? Like, how drunk are you walking around with a gun that you think somebody else's house is your house? She got one year and a half.
Right, yeah.
She walked into the guy's house when he's just sitting there in his underwear, whatever, and fucking killed him dead in his own apartment. And she got 1 year and a half.
And she'll probably get a book deal when she gets out.
Dude, remember the girl that stopped to save the ducks?
Oh my God, don't even get that.
She got a year.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows. This was a story here in the South Shore, Montreal. South Shore, Montreal, where a woman who... She just stopped. Yeah, she was like 19, 20, 21, maybe, like a kid. She just, maybe a year or two driving. She stopped. She saw a family of ducks crossing the street. Stopped.
Crossing the highway.
Stopped on the highway. It's a 2-lane highway, by the way. So it wasn't a huge 2-lane highway. Stopped on the side.
The left lane.
Yeah. Help the dogs, the ducks cross. And then a motorcycle. There was a car. I think there was a car in front of the motorcycle.
We've talked about this, yeah. The minivan, to me, is the one that caused the death. She waited until she's like 20 feet from the car that stopped. Be like, oh shit, it stopped, and veer away. The motorcycle didn't have time to react and smack right into the back of the stopped car.
And the father, it was a daughter. I think a father and daughter. Did the daughter pass away as well?
They both died.
They both died. Yeah. And the poor girl
and the mother. So the wife and mother was on a separate motorcycle.
On another motorcycle.
She did avoid she avoided the crash, but watched her husband and daughter fucking die a very violent death. It's a horrible story.
It's a horrible story.
She made a terrible, based on the result.
It's just a horrible
mistake. But
everything.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
Trying to save life, you know. Who would have, you don't think of that.
Well, you know what I thought about too during this whole pandemic, how we were all like applauding and the
healthcare workers,
not the healthcare workers, but frontline, truck
police,
drivers,
fire, mailmen,
everybody,
grocery store.
We were all applauding them, and I was thinking, so remember the Humboldt hockey incident where the truck driver was just exhausted, ran a light, killed him. Oh, he was just a tired hero, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're all applauding them today as heroes.
No, again, that's about the time where I started to see
situation.
that racism was alive in Canada, because that tired hero was wearing a turban, and it became not about tired, overworked truck drivers, nothing like it was fucking immigrants taking our jobs, and look at what they do. They kill a whole hockey team.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck you.
Shouldn't
Can you
we just
imagine
have
how this guy feel?
Dude, so bad. For both sides, just horrible. But imagine, why didn't... Now we look at them. How did that become
a thing? How did the fact that he's brown become a thing in all that?
Look, man, I'm born and raised here. I love Canada more than anything. I don't know any other country. This is my country. I've
I think he was from
experienced.
Pakistan, actually.
I don't know if he was from India or Pakistan. I can't remember, but
Maybe.
he was even from Bangladesh. I don't know. But I know that it's racism is definitely alive in Canada. The
It's
difference
sad, and
is,
I'm sorry.
someone had said something about, even there was that woman in New York City. This we have to fact check. But I saw someone say the woman in New York City. Remember this week there was a woman in New York City who
In the park with her dog?
The park with the dog, who called and was like, an African American is
Trying to kill me.
Yeah, threatening me. Apparently she was Canadian. Now I want to double check this, and I'll put it up as we're talking now to make sure I'm right. But I heard she was Canadian.
Well, she worked for a government agency, though.
Something.
In
She was
America.
finance. Yeah, she worked in America. Yeah, definitely. But I heard she was. And then when I heard that, I go, of course, because she didn't say the N word. She said African American. I go,
Well, when
that's
you call
Canadian
911,
racism.
yeah.
That's Canadian racism.
Yeah.
You're almost too polite. You're
And
very
when you
polite
call
about your
911,
racism.
you don't be like...
Yeah, you're like, there's an African American. You'd be like, that N word is trying to kill me. That's what if you were like an American
Full-on
racist.
Okay, maybe.
Canadian racism is like there's an African American who's trying to kill me right now. Dude, it is real in Canada.
It's real,
It's
and
not
I'm
as
sad.
bad. It's not. And Quebec, I find Quebec out of all of them it's pretty bad in Quebec. It's pretty
Really?
bad. Yeah, dude. Quebec is. I've seen things
In Montreal.
Yeah, Derek,
I would say Montreal is the least
is
racist
the least
city
place. Yes,
in Canada.
Yes, 100% Montreal. In Quebec, Montreal is the last on the list of racist places. But outside of Montreal,
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
it's-
dude, there's story. Carolyn sitting right there, she could tell you stories of things that even she's seen, and she goes, "That was fucking racist." And I was like, "Really? Were they being racist?" I don't even notice it anymore.
But I think outside in small places, it's more ignorance than hate.
It's definitely ignorance.
It's racist,
But it's a
still,
mix. It's a
But
mix.
it's much more like if we're splitting percentage.
Yeah.
It's 80% ignorance, 20% prejudice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think we talked about this in the Maritime.
Yeah,
For the history of the place,
Yeah.
there's been so few ethnic people that no one's ever taken it as a threat or anything. They
Right.
just know nothing about it. Like you're talking to a 60-year-old woman, and that monkey family that lived down the street.
God. Yeah, they're
and
not-
You're like, what?
yeah.
You can't say that. It's
Yeah.
like, what? That's what we always said. They're the Campbells. We've known them since we were 5. They've always been the monkeys. What do you mean? What? Stop it! You can't say that.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't understand.
They
They're wonderful. They come for dinner.
legitimately-
They love them and everything. They just don't know. They're just. But they've
This
never
is
been
where-
threatened by them because there's the Campbells, the
Yeah.
only ones they've ever known. They'll fucking go to 6 towns over and like they see a black person on TV and they're like, oh my god. Is that a Campbell? See, they don't. They're so old. They've
They're
never
so
seen
ignorant.
it.
They're just not. They're not aware.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times, like that's where I vary from where people who call out racism too soon, like that's racist in a sense. But when I see stuff like that, I don't get mad at the person. I don't. I've had that directed at me a million times. I've had that directed at me where you're like,
The
okay,
ignorant
you
part
just
or
yeah,
the
you
hateful
just
kind?
you just don't know. Both of them.
Yeah.
But when it's the ignorant part, I don't get mad. I just try to be friendly so that they can have a friend that is not white, for example.
Right.
Just so that because I'm not going to get mad at them. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
They're not malicious. They're like, oh, like they'll say something about me and then they'll be like, but you should come on over for dinner sometime. We'd love to have you. Like, well, you just said something really racist.
Yeah.
So you know that they're not racist. What it is they're not well educated. They haven't been around it enough to know like what you should say, what you can say, or what's not. Doesn't make sense. You can't say that. That doesn't make any sense. But it's just because it's what you grew up with.
Yeah.
So you don't know any better. So I never hold it against people like that. I try to just think of it as like, okay, here's an opportunity that I can be friends with this person and like teach them like, dude, you know how many of my friends are like, I'm the only person of color that they're friends with.
Yeah.
They might know like maybe 2 or 3 other people. I mean, there wasn't a lot when I was growing up. I mean, how many you grew up in the South Shore? I'm sure there wasn't a ton of ethnic people at your school. There was maybe like 30
Probably less than now.
40
but
at our
this
school.
has always been a very ethnically, like there's always been several ethnicities in my, like say I have a group of 8 friends.
Definitely Brossard was more ethnic before
Yeah.
like Chateauguay.
Right, there was a lot of Chinese people that moved here, but even as a kid, I had a lot of black friends, some Latino friends, some Indian friends.
When you say
met
a
my
lot,
friend
you mean, like,
Hassan,
what, 3,
Hassan
or-
Alam. You met
Hassan-
him from Ottawa?
No.
He's taking us to eat and stuff. Hassan. No?
No, I don't think so.
He's also Pakistani, I think.
I would have remembered that. Ali Hassan?
No, Hassan Alam, yeah. Ali went to the same school as us too. Ali was there.
He went to the same school as you?
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
It's true. He's from South Shore. Is he
You know,
Brossard
Mrs.
as well?
Phillips across the street, she's Caribbean.
Yes.
I went to school with her daughters as well. My friend
Brossard is
Uzo.
definitely more close to Montreal. Like, it was that. I feel like there's definitely more ethnic, because I knew more ethnic
And not-
families in Brossard area than anyone in Chateauguay. Like, there was, like, when I was first going, like, in elementary school, I think there was, like, 4. There was a Spanish kid. There was who was, like, my best friend. Another kid from Mauritius, his cousin. And maybe, like, one, I think there was, in our grade, yeah, there was definitely one black kid. His brother was older, so he was in the older grade. As it went on, we got more and more, but early on there was like 4 kids of color, 5 in our
I
elementary
had
school.
way more than that, and I'm older than you, so
Yeah,
I
that's-
guess I was
yeah.
lucky to grow up in this.
Yeah, this area had more ethnicity for sure.
We're trying to discredit racism and stuff, but I was about to say, like, no, man, growing up, like, a lot of my friends were ethnic. Like, I played sports, so I had a lot of black friends. I like to play on winning teams.
Yeah, I always wanted to play on the winning team. It's so true, man. We had this
I'm
one.
not racist, but I'd like to go hang out at the Afro Center to try to recruit for our team.
That's funny, man. It's true. There was this one black kid who you might have, or no, yeah, Reese is much younger than me, but he played for the football team also. I played basketball with him.
Okay.
This kid dominated every sport, man. Was just insane. Pascal, I can't remember his last name. Dude was like insane, man. Like just a monster. And like every time you want to be on his team, man.
Yeah.
Pass the ball to him.
And
like,
he's your age, like 35?
He was my age, yeah. He was
That
my
rings
age.
a bell because we stayed involved.
But he
like,
was a monster
Jay's
football
been coaching
player.
and Curtis has been coaching for a long time. And
You might
Houston
have
Park.
crossed paths seeing him. He
That
played
rings
for
a
the
bell.
Raiders in Chateauguay when I was in high school.
Did he make
was,
the CFL?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if he kept going or if he just gave up on sports, or I don't know what happened to him after I left high. He wasn't even in our high school. He was in French school, but I crossed paths in sports with him all the time. He played in the city league,
Sure.
so that's how I knew him, and then he was friends with friends of mine, so but yeah, that's funny that you're like, with the winning team, you want to be on the ethnic team. Unless it's golf or
But to give you an example,
tennis or
the guy
something.
who I said I went to the hardware store today and I'm going to build him a flower box like that tomorrow. We went to elementary school just down the street here together.
Right.
And he's Spanish. He's from Spain.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah.
We had I'd say more so. I would say now at
think-
that school,
Yeah.
white people are less than half
Right.
now.
Yeah. Now.
in
Yeah.
Brossard.
Yeah.
Which is fucking great. Like, as not racist as I feel I am, I think my kids are really and I guess that's why I don't realize what's going on in the rest of the world, because I see the new world through my kids' eyes.
Yeah.
And they don't even notice. They don't notice.
Colors.
You know, like
or-
I would say, Andy, who's the youngest, I said, like, you know, a lot of these kids, there's a lot of kids with the same name. There's tendance names like Noah.
Right.
And she'll be like, oh, I'm going to see Noah. And I'm like, oh, which one? And it could have been the black one, you know, or the white one.
Yeah.
But no, it was, you know, the one with the brown eyes. I'm like, fuck, I love you so much.
Yeah. Very
You're
progressive.
I
yeah.
love you so much. What a wonderful way to just look. Yeah.
I think in like 10, 15 years time, I feel like it's definitely going to be suppressed.
Yeah, like the millennials shit on the boomers all the time, but when that generation starts to die, there'll be a good chunk of
There's
racism
gonna
going with it.
a good
Yeah.
chunk of racism, and again, it's
And the ignorant, but it's more the ignorant kind. The hate one. Somehow it reproduces itself. There's young people. There's fucking 18-year-old people that.
well,
hate,
again,
like
it comes.
that kid in Quebec City, 18, and he's shooting up a mosque.
Yeah, that.
How do you get
I
that
don't
hate?
know if his. I mean, I feel bad because I've seen the things with his parents, and they seem like generally nice people. See, this is where it hurts me. It hurts me a lot because I know a lot of people get angry at it. This is like the new thing now with like the hipster generation of outrage culture of like just going, you said something racist, take them down, just bury them, never again, you can't live. Yeah. I hate that. It's like
Jimmy Fallon imitation of Chris Rock 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Jimmy Fallon, en plus.
20 years ago.
Making fun of his friend.
Yeah, his friend.
Right?
I don't.
It'd be like me doing a sketch where I fucking eat a salad. This is yummy. I'm Abdul, but this is yummy. What's the? Oh my god, I've never had a Caesar salad so good. What's the secret? Bacon. Like it's just me taking the piss out of my buddy.
Right.
And
yeah.
No, this fuck it.
But that's where that's fake race. That's fake outrage. That's what I get offended by.
And that's to bring us back. That's what Arthur was trying to describe in his thing. It's
Exactly. You know where? I'll give you a perfect example. Probably where Arthur is drawing the line. How many people? How many comics? Or how many? Not necessarily comics, but people that it is part of this new outrage culture of alt-y, we want to support and be nice and all this stuff. And anytime somebody says something that could be perceived as racist or sexist, and they take them down and they're always bitching about it. Yeah. How many of those people actually hang out with ethnic people? How many of them actually have ethnic friends?
Or go to women's rights marches.
And do or hang out.
Perfect example, Shanti Marastika was super treating us bad. And then it turns out you're not a nice person.
You were a shit person to a lot of people. That's where I get, and you can't call it out until they get caught. They fall like a Shanti. When they fall, and then you can go, oh, now can you see it with your own fucking eyes? While we're all sitting back, keeping our mouth shut, because we know the truth.
Yeah.
But you can't say it, like especially a guy like you, because you are a straight white guy, because if you call it out, you're just, straight white guy, you can't call that out.
I am careful, but when things like that
But you can call that out.
When they really bother me, I can't help it. I have to say, bullshit, shut the fuck up. And that's one of the things that Arthur was saying. It was a beautiful analogy, too, that it's take like 8 years of post-secondary, right? 8 years of school to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
To argue the law.
Right.
Or litigate with the law.
Yeah.
But fucking like a 6-week training course that's mostly physical fitness and shit. You get a gun and a badge to go enforce the law on the front line.
Right.
And that's the word he used was there's a disconnect.
Point. That's a very good point.
In our system.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before. I think on 2 podcasts ago I said police, because I'm not racist at all, but I'm. It's to the point in our society where if there is a group that I'm prejudiced against, it's police. It's sad. I have some friends that are police. I sound like the old school racist. I'm not racist. I have a black friend. You know what I mean?
But
for me, the police is one group of people. You have to win my trust. I'm not going to just fucking trust you. And it's sad that as a parent, I feel I have to teach that to my kid too.
Yeah.
Like when I was little, it was like, remember Block Parent?
Yeah.
They had the thing, like if ever you're lost, if you see that sign in the window, you go.
Yeah.
2020, ça marche pas. See, every pedophile in the world would be fucking printing those off in their, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the world has changed. So, but my parent.
You got a parent. Your kids are.
My parent used to say, if ever you're lost, whatever, go seek out a policeman. And I'm telling them, call me on your cell phone. I'll find where you are. Don't fucking seek out a policeman. I don't trust these people at all.
Yeah.
Especially the one in uniform. If you're like a 40-year-old man still wearing a uniform, you fucked up so many times. Right? Like all you can do is use this little fucking radar gun and give out ticket. And their penmanship's horrible off the anyway, I know it sounds terrible. I'm prejudiced, but at least it's not against. Hi. Oh, bye. You're leaving? I love you.
Bye.
Lundi ou dimanche? Okay. I'll miss you.
Take care.
I'm going to Jacob's later. I'll say hi for you. Don't talk to the police. I'm sorry if you're a police officer watching this and you're a decent person. I'm sorry.
There's some cool cops.
I know
there are definitely some cool cops.
I like to assume that it's got to be a high percentage. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden a statistician or something, but I'm sure it's a lot of. They're great people. most
Yeah,
of the
there's a lot
police
of
that
cool
I
cops.
meet
There's
in
a lot
personal,
of assholes, but there's a lot of good ones.
most of police that I meet on a social level,
yeah, they're definitely the cool
I'm
ones.
like, oh wow, you're great.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, isn't it weird when you meet one, like especially at a show, and they're like, "I'm a cop," and
You're like, really, you?
Why?
Wow, I didn't get the weird.
How did your parents fail you? Why did you need to be that?
I get the attraction of it. I mean, it's a government pension. It's
I wanted to be a
good
cop when I
working
was
wage.
younger, man. I really did. I went to like RCMP, those like open house things. I wanted to check it out, and I was really thinking about it, man. I hated cops, but that was a part of it. I wanted to
Change.
just because I hated
Be the change that you want to see.
I hated them being like dicks to kids.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, if you were just cool, kids would listen. But if you're just like always trying to lay down the law and be a dick about it, they're gonna be like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna be a dick, you know.
And people say that for the racist cops, whatever, that the racism is a product of, like when you work in Compton. And 90% of your arrests are domestic abuse or drug
desensitivity, like they're desensitized to it.
90% of the people you have to arrest are black. Then how is that the factor though?
Well, you know
how
what
about
it is?
90% of the people you arrest are poor criminals, and they live in a black neighborhood. Why is there a black neighborhood even? I don't even understand that in today's day and age.
Yeah, well, that's
how we can still try to group people.
Well, it's because it's lower income, lower rent, it's places where people can't thrive. Man, moving to America, you really see it. In Canada, you see it, and you go, oh, this should change. In America, you see it, and it smacks you in the face, and you're like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, even in your neighborhood, like
this is bad.
Micro spots, like Latin, and then Chinese, and then Korean.
Yeah.
Like, really? The Korean can't fucking live with the Chinese? Oh my God, that was racist. I can't believe that. I just did.
The Koreans can't get along with the Chinese even. We can't put them in the same neighborhood.
Why did I do that? That was terrible. That I just did what I said I don't do. That's terrible.
It's kind of funny.
But just why are they grouping at all?
We're grouping into continents. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
At least can we move on from countries to continents? Can we just group each other in that sense? I mean, the Latins do it. In our neighborhood, it's basically South America. It's all the Latin... El Salvadorian, Nicaraguan, Mexico, Colombia. They all live in that same area.
Abdul's become twice the dancer he was since he moved there.
I move those hips, buddy. Shake and move. It's cool. No, it is really cool living in a neighborhood like that. And I feel, and I got to say, it's the first time I've ever lived in a predominantly ethnic neighborhood. But moving to a new country, it feels kind of cool living in there because you're like, I guess you feel like you don't have to be worried about racism. It's mostly the main thing.
Yeah.
So you're just like, you go out and you're like, okay, everybody has the same skin color as me. They all think I'm Mexican.
I guess that's how it happened. How it's happened.
Yeah, it's probably a safety net. It's probably like, okay, here you're safe.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry.
Like the fact that they have to make a movie about the first black man to buy an it's building in a certain neighborhood, that's like a momentous thing.
Right.
Makes me so sad.
It's weird.
Especially that for me, again, and I speak from the lucky group, I guess, but whenever I'm immersed, like just going to Mrs. Phillips for a party. So she has a lot of Bajan friend over. The food is like you're experiencing new stuff, and then new music to go with the new food that you're eating, and talking to the people. And it just happened then. I was leaving for Barbados in like 4 weeks, and they all found out, and they're like, "Oh man, you got to go to this place and this place at night. Oh, see, it's great." And blah, blah, blah. Listening to, and so I love that.
Yeah,
right? I love experiencing new things. I mean, like I couldn't afford ever to go to Pakistan, Barbados, Spain, and Italy in 1 year, but if I just go to 4 people's house for dinner, I'm getting a little taste of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that, and yet people find somehow to hate it. Like, why? Is it jealousy? I
have a friend who told me about it. It's just you saying that made me pop in my mind. An old friend of mine, he was telling me because he went to live out at the oil sands in Alberta. He was working there for years. He still works. I think he still goes back. He does like runs like for months at a time, and he was telling me that, and he was like, dude, because he grew up like friends, his family was kind of like on that edge of, they weren't bad, they were cool, man, we hung out with them all the time, they're so cool, but he would tell me that, like, he's like, because he grew up around me, and my mom would make different types of foods and stuff, so he'd always try it. But he was like, dude, when I moved to Alberta and like when I was like living in the sands and like I'd tell guys like, oh, let's go eat at this like there's like a
Indian place.
Pakistani restaurant. Let's go eat there. And he'd be like, oh, I don't eat that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, yeah, but you've never even fucking tasted it. They're like, oh, fucking curry, fuck that, it stinks. I'm not eating that shit. And he's like, well, what are you gonna go get? And I'm like, get some hot dogs at the corner. He's like, yeah, but why? You could try something new. You know, like it's a different life. Like just try it. It's not gonna kill you. You know, but I find that it's weird that it's the way you're brought up. I think if you're brought up and you're not around it, that's why I can't be mad at people who inadvertently say things that are sort of racist, but they're not mean.
Right.
Because they're not mean. If you're going to be a dick and you're going to be mean and you're going to be like, get the fuck out of here, go back to your country, yeah, okay, I'll fight you. Now fuck you.
Yeah.
But if you're like, just say something like, you're like, oh yeah, we once had a black couple in here, wacky bunch, but they were nice. You know, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's racist. You should say that. I'd be like, oh, that's funny because you don't know what you're supposed to say, but you're not mean. Yeah. You're not hurtful. You're not really trying to be. You just didn't know because you haven't been around it enough.
Yeah.
So I never try to be upset about it, but it's funny.
There's that middle area though that they're hard to.
If they just get pissed enough, they're racist.
No, that there's a certain amount of ignorance with it.
Yeah.
That they just don't know. No one told them that it's not right to say these things and that it's something to embrace
yes,
rather than be afraid of.
Nobody told them that it's not right to say.
But it's where that thing becomes where they have to make a decision about something, like that lady in the park. Maybe
right.
she'd never. No one ever. You ask any of her friends, I'm like, oh my god, I never would have.
Yeah, I thought you were right, but maybe
the
that
racism
moment
is built into her deep.
Again,
right,
dude,
that a black man makes her afraid when she's by herself.
Yeah.
With no other factor except the fact that the man was black. Wasn't talking to her per se, from what I hear. He was using his phone
asked her to just leash her
film
dog.
Something. Oh yeah, asked her to leash her dog.
Leash her dog, yeah. And which is normal. I mean, yeah, okay. It's maybe. I mean, first of all, yeah, you're in New York City. Leash your dog. Yeah. You're not out in, you're not in like a park in the suburbs, further out where there's not a lot of people. You're in a city. Leash your dog.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Unless it's a dog park, I get it. Whatever, I don't even care because I'm not one for like you.
I would never have the balls to be that complainer like that.
Me neither.
So that black guy to me is like, if I was his friend, I'd be like, oh god, here he goes again with his fucking social justice warrioring.
To me, that's annoying.
Yeah,
the other guy, I don't even know what he was doing. The guy who died, George Floyd.
They said he wrote a bad check. That we don't. We're far from hearing if that.
Wait, hold on a second. That's
the
what
crime
it is.
That somebody called.
He wrote a bad check
and said he wrote a bad check. How you know that it's a bad check immediately? So
is this real, or are you just saying this?
No.
This is the facts.
Suspicion of writing a bad check.
Writing a bad check, and you didn't even go to the bank yet to know if it's a good check.
Right. The clerk.
How do you even get arrested for that? How's that a crime?
And they say he resisted. They show you the first 2 or 3 minutes of the thing. He wasn't resisting. He was like,
I didn't watch it. I can't watch it because I've seen a million
sit
of
up
them.
against the wall. I didn't watch the violent part either. I saw the still image of it. But the suspicion of writing a bad check is how this all started.
How's that?
Dude.
How does a cop even get involved with that?
I don't know.
Until the crime is committed.
First of all, in America, as you know, it's already hard enough to cash a check now.
Yeah.
But you can't do it without like 2 form of ID. So if it is a bad check, you'll find the guy. That's somebody else's thing.
Yeah.
Wait till it's proven.
Let the bank figure it out. That's not even the.
It makes you start to think that the person that called the police probably also slightly racist.
Yeah.
Or maybe this guy is known as a bad check writer in the neighborhood. It doesn't matter. Still,
it's not worth dying.
Of writing a bad check was the reason why they were called in the first place, and why you have 8 police show up for suspicion of writing a bad check when. Here in Brossard, I live in the suburb. 2 years ago, my friend Kelly, there was an armed robbery at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And they were running, and the cops got there quick, whatever, the bad luck for the robber, whatever. So they're running through backyards, ditched the gun, so that in her backyard happened. So her 8-year-old at the time find this, or 10-year-old find this, like a 357, a monster fucking, like a barrel like this in the backyard. Called the police, 5 hours.
Before they came?
Before they came. 5 hours. There's a loaded fucking cannon. 5 hour.
Wow, that was used at a crime scene.
That was used in the crime.
Wow.
5 hour. I had a guy armed robbery on the street over there. Ran through this neighbor's yard, through my yard. Andy's swimming in the pool, and it was at gunpoint. We didn't know this at the time. Andy's like, Dad, and I'm like, come here, and she's like, the guy just ran through, and then I ran out, and the guy was bolting down the street. So I started running. I made it like 7 steps, and was like, all right, you got me, buddy.
Wow. Jeez, you're winded just thinking about it.
Just thinking about running. But he ditched a mask in my bushes or whatever, and the cops came like 2 hours later.
It's very progressive. Now we're all wearing masks.
Many people called the police, like 7 calls on the same crime, 2 hours to get here. Meanwhile, my neighbor down the street was a fireman, happened to be on his bike. And we're like, ah, he's like, qu'est-ce qui se passe? I'm like, il vient de voler là-bas. And so he chased the guys running on his bike. They split up, so he chased one guy on the phone with 911. Okay, je suis sur the bike path to the Chevrier bus depot, whatever.
Yeah.
And the 911's like, okay, where is he doing now? He's running. Okay, he went in the bushes. And the 911 is like, stay with him. He doesn't know the guy has a gun, though. If that's the one that had the gun. We don't know. But the whole time he didn't know. He didn't try to apprehend him, but he's helping the 911 people. And he's like, okay, he stopped. I think he's waiting for a bus. And he came back later. He's like, écoute, I stayed there for 35 minutes with my eye on the guy.
Are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. How come?
Is it past an hour?
It is, but it's still recording. But I'll give it
maybe it can do it.
Maybe. Do you want to try it?
I don't know. Should we keep an eye on it?
I guess maybe a minute 5. We're at 102.
Oh my God! Maybe it's just your memory card was too small before,
or the battery maybe.
Battery?
Because now it's plugged into AC anyway.
That's it. That's probably what it is.
Anyway, 2 hours for them to show up, and then I'm showing them. Okay, look, it's right here. The mask that he threw is right there, and she's like, "Did you touch it?" I'm like, "What the fuck do you care? It's been sitting there for 2 hours, gathering pollen and dust."
Yeah, it's fucking.
You know what I mean?
Birds have been shitting on it already.
So anyway,
they don't do anything. The cops don't do nothing, man. No. When it comes to things that are like,
they don't solve crimes. That's the thing.
It's funny, right? Because when you watch the movies and they're like, they call the cops and they show up, you're like, I've tried that. That doesn't happen. You call the cops and like there's a real emergency, and they just take their fucking sweet ass time. I
actually tweeted the other day because Reese got a $340.
I want to ask you about that. That's funny.
Ticket.
Yeah,
listen. Everyone's poor. We're all struggling.
That I get.
And you give a 19-year-old kid a $340 seatbelt ticket. $340. And I was wrong. Turns out he wasn't on the 40 kilometer an hour. He was on the highway, so he knows he should be wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
The Camry is an old enough car that it don't give you the bing, 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 like put your seatbelt on. He forgot. He usually wear it. Every time I get in the car with him, he put it on right away. My point was, but the people, these fucking Karens, and that's another subject I'd like to talk to you about, because Karens don't have to be just girls; they could be boys too. I didn't get one. A couple of people just like with the little emoji that rolled their eyes, or I was there last week or whatever. I got, but 80% of the reaction I got to that tweet were, well, somebody should teach Reese. That'll maybe remind him for next time to put on his seatbelt. I'm like, Wush, you're a fucking cunt. Remind me to never invite you to a party, you fucking loser.
Well, dude, when I read that, I was like, I remember reading your tweet and I was like, is this a trick question? Like, you were like mad at the cops. You were like, they gave him a ticket for not wearing his seatbelt. So the way that it was worded sounded like you were upset that he got a ticket for doing something illegal, but he did do something illegal. That was very simple.
Illegal, which I'm not so much for that law. If you want to, risk your own life,
it's incredibly dangerous. Like what? As a mechanic,
driving a car without a seatbelt.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous, man. Dude, you're dead with an airbag.
25 times safer than riding a motorcycle with a full body armor and fucking $9,000 helmet. But motorcycles are illegal.
No, you know what, Derek? I think driving a car without an airbag, with no seatbelt, yes, I'll agree with you. With an airbag, if that thing blows, you're fucking dead. It doesn't matter. You're getting hurt. You're either getting extremely hurt or you're dead. The airbag, when it blows,
if
you're not wearing...
Dumb and Dumber? Airbag goes off and it becomes...
It's a fun...
It's
confetti
hilarious.
pops
it's
out.
Just hilarious.
Yeah. It's just a grand old time. Honestly, it's the most... like, I think about like airbags. If you're not wearing a seatbelt...
It's not your fucking problem.
It's the law, buddy. That's where it... I know what you're saying. We should all be... You should all be held... Like, you should be able to do what you want to do.
Abdul is only coming to visit me for the first time since the pandemic.
Yeah, because you don't follow rules.
The law said you're not allowed to
you
see
don't
your
follow
friend.
rules. I thought I didn't follow rules. Dude, you don't follow rules. Like, I follow the rules.
They're my fucking rules.
Yeah.
They're rules of a reasonable, intelligent person. I don't need some fucking
I only follow...
douchebag that failed out of plumbing school fucking giving me a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. Fuck you.
I only follow rules that I know don't make sense. Or I don't follow those rules. The ones that I follow are like, yeah, okay. Like, wearing a seatbelt, I will always wear as much speed limits in certain areas. I'll be like, fuck you, this is dumb. Why is it a 50? We're on a highway. This is retarded. You know, like when you go down in Montreal, if you're driving down the 20 right by the Turcotte, it's a 50 kilometer. It's a highway.
Chad got a ticket.
It's a highway.
Chad got a ticket.
Yeah,
he might lose his license. They clock him at 105.
Oh my God.
But he said he wasn't even in the left lane, following traffic.
Dude, of course. Everybody drives 100.
His family was in the thing. They were going to a football banquet in the city. 105, but it's 50 in that weird construction.
It's a highway.
A highway. And it's like
But
12
that's
point.
what I hate
12
about-
point and
Because he was
$1,700
over,
ticket.
yeah, he was over 40 kilometers.
Yeah, and I'm like,
of
dude,
limit.
they could have seized your car on the
Yeah.
spot. I'm like, it's... But va chier.
Yeah.
Va chier, man. Just change it.
That's a cash grab. That's where I have a problem. Because in Montreal specifically, Quebec, Montreal has a very big... That's where they fuck you. Montreal always has some scammy bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Your parking meters. You put money in the meter. You leave before your meter. Next guy's got to pay for the spot. You already paid for it.
Yeah.
Why has he got to pay for it again?
The new system.
You know? That's just the way it is. But Montreal's always been like that. Even like when you pass the 20... When you're on the 20, past the Mercier and you're going towards the airport... It's a 70-kilometer-an-hour zone.
Yeah.
On one side of the highway, you're going the other way, the other direction,
100.
it's 100.
I know.
What's the difference? But it's a scam. Montreal does that. They do
I
this.
don't know if it's a scam.
It's a scam, buddy.
I don't even give them credit enough for being intelligent enough to
They
create
are.
a scam like that.
They are. It's
but
a
the
scam.
ticketing, that's why I don't like police. Because 95% of my interaction
Scams.
with police has been to harass and extort money from generally speaking, law-abiding citizen
yeah.
just going about their business.
Yeah. And then somebody with a
gun.
gun.
I've never ever been involved in the crime or been a victim of a crime that the police have even tried
an
to solve.
effort.
Never mind
yes.
solve.
100%.
Try to solve.
Yeah.
How many times have I been robbed? My car's been robbed. My fucking
Yeah.
Never. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like what?
Dude, this
But
happened.
driving my daughter to work at 8:30 to school at 8:30 in the morning,
Yeah,
doing
you get
50 in a 30.
Yeah, you get a
And I'm like,
ticket.
that's 30?
Yeah.
What? And then I try to do 30. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I see a kid just passed me on his bike.
Because that's easy for them. To actually do their job is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this happened when I was, I think I must have been maybe 19 at the time. I was looking for a used car. I wanted to buy a car. So I asked my dad to come with me. I saw a car, Honda Accord for sale. Wanted to go see it. We show up at this guy's house. He tells me this whole story. Oh, it's my Nana's. She's too old. She doesn't want to, she needs to get rid of it. It's in good condition. So I go to see it ask my dad, I'm like, can you come with me? I want to see this car. So we show up, total racist white dude, like just, again, not judging him off the top, but you see him and you're like, okay, cool guy, whatever, let's talk. Showing me the car and I'm like, right away I can tell it's not your Nana's car.
Yeah.
You're one of those guys that buys cars, you put some putty, spray paint it,
right.
and you flip it and you make a couple $100. So as soon as we get there, I see it, and I already like know a little bit about cars at this point in my life. So I'm looking at it. My old man too, he's always been generally good with cars. So he's looking at it and he goes, and we both look at each other like, okay, this guy's a scam. So my dad looks at it and he sees like a putty spot where the guy just covered and painted with a spray can, and the guy was like, "There's no rust." So my dad's like, "Well, what's this here?" And the guy goes, "Oh, that's nothing." And he's like, that was like, you fixed it. It's putty. Like it's not original. And he goes, no, that's original. There's nothing there. So my dad just takes his finger and he rubs it, and the putty just crumbles.
Oh, didn't even wait till it dried.
Didn't even wait. So the guy comes and he goes, now he knows we caught him in his lie. So now he just gets racist. Now he's pissed. So he fucking punches my dad right in the arm.
What?
And he goes, you fucking break my car? Because my dad touched the putty and it just crumbled. So he punches my dad in the arm and he goes, you fucking breaking my car? And I get right in between him and my dad and I'm like, yo, back up. I'm like, what's your problem, man? And he goes, yeah? He goes, what are you going to fucking do? And he's getting in my face. And I'm a kid. And this guy's like probably 35, 40 at the time. I'm a fucking kid. I'm like 19. And I get in front of my dad's fucking but my dad's older. I'm trying not to keep, I'm like, yo, stay behind me. And I'm like, what's your fucking problem, man? Relax. And he's like, you fucking break my car? You fucking packies? You fucking break my car?
Oh my God.
Dude, he goes over to my dad's car that we showed up in. And my dad is like, I'm holding my dad back at this point. He wants to fucking kill it. And I'm like, no, we're going to call the cops. Because I'm a kid and I think you call the cops, they're going to help you. So this guy kicks my dad's car, dents the door. And he's like, there, you got a fucking broken car too now. Fucking packies, fuck you. He's yelling at us.
English guy?
English, yeah. So me and my dad is furious. I'm like, just holding him back, keeping him. I'm like, let's fucking get in the car. We get in the car. And I'm sitting in the car. I call 911. I'm like, this guy just came. He kicked our car. I tell him everything. Cops fucking take. And then the neighbors are standing. This is how crazy this guy was. Neighbors were standing outside. There was a Sikh guy in his front yard who lived across from him. And I'm like, yo, you saw that, right? You witnessed that? Witness? And he looks and he goes,
oh no.
Because he's so scared of this guy that he doesn't even want to be a witness because he lives across the street from him. Dude, cops show up. Take our report, blah blah blah. They give him like he's got to go to court now because I'm fucking pressing charges.
Yeah.
So he's got to go to court. Fucking cops. It took him an hour to show up. We fucking had to drive around the corner and wait because the guy wouldn't stop fucking coming back to the car. He was gonna fucking start smashing the car or whatever. So I took off and I waited around the corner for the cops. When they came, then we both came and I was like, that's the motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
So the cops come and they fill out the report. Then we go to court. It took 2 years. We go to court. This guy makes up this whole fucking story. And I go up and I'm like, look, this is exactly what happened. And I'm like, it's hurting me to say this. Like, I'm like, how could someone be so fucking mean to a human being? Like, you have no reason to do it. Like, you know, you're just
to fuck us and we caught you.
And exactly.
You're that mad at
you're a fucking criminal and you're trying to fucking, and you're a dick. Dude, the cops, at the end of the day, the lawyer gave him, I think he had to pay $300 to fix the door, even though it cost way more than that to fix.
They paid it to you, though?
He had to pay, they paid us, and then he had to pay the government afterwards. Okay. But it's like, and that's one of the stories I've had in my life of like, you have to fucking defend yourself through racism. But it's real, and it's when you least expect it, and it just hits you in your face, and you're like, and you have to stay calm. The cop even told me after, I was 19, the cop came and he goes, what you did was the best thing you could have done. Because if we would have retaliated or tried to do something, this guy, who knows, he's got guns, he's come out with a bat, who knows what he's going to do, you know?
Yeah.
But it's those things where like you gotta understand that like when you're a different ethnicity or different religion, or when you're not the norm of what the surrounding area you're in is, it's sketchy. You got to always be on your toes and watch yourself because you know me. I like to have fun. We go out to shows, man. We're in small towns. We party with everybody. I don't have a grudge against anyone. But you never know when it's going to hit you.
No, but in some of these small towns, it's funny. With that, being with Abdul, it's only recently, like on that last maritime run, that I noticed that you're an ethnic guy who... Your parents are clearly sophisticated people, like.
Well,
but like
they're working class.
But they're like they have class.
Respect.
They're
respectful. Yeah.
Manners and you were brought up right. You're from a certain ilk, and on the last tour when we were in some of those small towns, you were so riveted by the fucking trailer trashy fucking that sort of culture, like. Oh my God, that is so fucking interesting. Look at that. Did that chick just grab herself by the fucking twat? What the fuck? You were so like, Darla.
Are you kidding me?
You were like, oh my God, she farted.
Dude,
she farted.
Dude, I love that. I was like, this reminds me of Chattagee.
You were so like,
it's like the old lady from Chattagee, dude. I know. I have a blast when I'm in like weird towns that most colored people would be like, get me the hell out of here. I'm
What's
like,
happening?
This is so fun. Look at how crazy all these people are. Darla, she just shit her pants and fucking ran back to the dance floor.
And it would sound weird for like a white guy, But as a French Canadian, we do feel it, and it's a weird thing. Racism between people that look the same, which is what we have here in Quebec, the English and the French.
Yeah, see,
and I'm totally federalist politically.
Yeah.
But French Canadian, especially when I travel outside of Quebec, I'm much more Québécois in fucking Saskatchewan than I am here, right? Like Québécois people are like, because I don't even work hardly in French anymore. But in Saskatchewan, I feel the racism, but it's like weird because we're the same.
But it's directed
it could
towards
be a guy
the language
that even
you
look
speak.
like me, same color eyes, same color hair, same bedon, everything. And he's like, and I see, I like a guy came up to me and was like, what's the difference between a fucking Quebecer and a Polish person? Nothing, they're both stupid. It's just one of those stupid street jokes.
Stupid throwaway
and
jokes.
You're like, you know I'm Quebecois, right? And he's like, yeah, that's why it's funny, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's
dentist must be cheap for you, right? You only have 4 teeth. Like, I don't mind picking something that's individual to this guy, but because I come from Quebec, I'm the butt of this joke. I don't know what the
I kind of like growing. I kind of like that I grew up in Quebec because we did have that bond. Because it was a lot of French-English rivalry more than it was ethnicity.
Yeah.
So it was like I would get treated like shit, but so would my white English friend.
Right.
So like we were both really close because like we both got arrested by the cops for no reason. You know, like just because we're English. You know, and it almost made you feel like, fuck, I'm part of these guys. You know, It's not a question of like, oh, because he's a different color or whatever. It was like, because we both speak the same language, we're on that same team. Like, I mean, the hockey rinks in Quebec, that's what it is. When you're a kid, it's you show up to the rink, French guys on one side, English kids on the other. That's how it always was, you know? But it wasn't necessarily a bad...
Coho, Sherwood. Coho, Sherwood.
But it wasn't...
Canadian. I see. He's going with the Sherwood. CCM. Let's go.
But it never was like a bad... I feel like we were always kind of playful. There was definitely fights. But it's kids doing stupid things. But yeah, we've learned to adapt and just be more respectful of each other. But now when you leave, like you're saying, when you leave Quebec and you go to other places of Canada as a Quebecer, you do feel like I say words in English that nobody, you say it too.
Dépanneur, whatever,
Dépanneur, or even like turn off the lights. Ferme les lumières.
Yeah, close the light.
Close the light. But nobody says that in English.
No.
It's, we say close the lights in
You say close the light too?
Yeah.
I'm French, and it bugs me when my kids say that.
Dude, I say it all
Close the TV, close the light.
The first time I said it, I remember saying, when I was working on 22, and we're in the writer's room, and I was like, oh, can you close the lights? Because we'd always close the main lights.
Yeah.
So it's less bright in the room. And I'm like, can you close the lights? And everyone looked at me like, close the lights. And I was like, yeah, why? What do you say? And they go, turn off.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, I'm like, oh shit.
I'm French.
I'm fucking French.
Oh my God.
No, I love it, man. Yeah. Like I love being bilingual.
I love being a Montrealer.
I love being from Quebec. I mean, it's just cool that we get to see both sides. Like when you're from Quebec, even if you're French or English, like you still mingle with both sides mostly, especially if you're in Montreal area, you know, like you have friends on both sides.
I really love Canada, but
Quebec's great.
Elvis Gratton did that whole thing. J'étais français, canadien, québécois. For me, I'm a Montrealer first.
Yeah.
And then Canadian, and then Québécois. I'm least proud of the Québécois because of some of
some of the things in there.
Because all of Quebec is not the same as Montreal, and Montreal have many of the things that I love. And the province of Quebec, I mean, if they just stop with the treason, maybe it'll change. And I don't even know why I love Canada. Maybe it's one of just those patriotic things, but at least and what we were saying before, like with Canada, you and your white friend getting arrested for the same thing, and it's like, oh, sentiment d'appartenance. Right. I'm part of this new. It made it dawn on me that maybe it's human nature to want to instinctively gravitate toward a
comfort,
a single quality that I can latch onto, that I'm going to decide to hate or to hate. That it's not in common, that it's different, and I decide that I'm going to hate it for some reason.
You're part of a group
through
or
jealousy
something.
or resentment
or
ignorance and hatred come from that. I don't know.
It would make sense. I mean, we're very gravitated towards being part of certain groups You know, everybody wants to be
Yeah.
part of a group, or you've got the straight whites, you've got the LGBTQ,
Yeah.
you've got the I guess people. I'm just using that as an exaggeration, but there's definitely you drive a Range Rover. You're part of the I'm sure there's guys out there that are all Range Rover
In
guys.
a club, yeah.
It's like Toyota. I'm a Toyota guy. There's a bunch of guys that love Toyota that there's forums. We're
Yeah.
just part of a group. You
Yeah.
drive by a guy with a Toyota pickup, like an old one like mine, we wave at each other. It's just a thing. They wave. It's like I think it's human nature. Like, you're right. I feel like it is human nature to feel like you need to belong
Yeah.
with something, otherwise you feel out of place.
And somehow some people find a disdain for another group that unifying. That's the unifying factor that they have. Oh, you hate Packies? Oh, I hate Packies too. Let's go on a Packie
that's
hating.
where it comes down to, like, where you were talking the Quebec City kid who shot up the mosque. It feels like his parents are not those people.
No, eh?
It feels like maybe they might have had they might not have been like super on board with ethnic people their whole life, because they're definitely they live far enough out from Montreal that they could be, but it doesn't feel like they're hurtful. Doesn't mean like they don't look like the type of people that would tell their kid to hurt people or to say mean things to people.
He took it to a new level.
He took it, and he might have just got on a same level online with a group that was radical, and he needed to feel a sense of belonging, and that's where it led to.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's that sense of belonging
Maybe
where you
I
need to
just
look
got
for.
lucky. It could have gone a different way for me, right? Like
Well, if
anything
you were
that's
outcast,
new for me, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so interested.
Yeah.
And it like by the end of the night, I find myself talking to the guy that emigrate from fucking je sais pas, Peru.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, when my best friend are sitting over there talking about the same bullshit that they always talk about, I'm like, oh my god, wow, that's so cool. You first 20 years of your life you live in the forest, and oh my god, that's great.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I hate shoes, and I don't know what he's saying, but I am so gravitate toward anything different. I'm so interested, and so I want to learn. I want to.
That's the right
tell
attitude.
Me the word.
Yeah.
I always want to know. Tell me the words for "Can I have sex with you right now" in your language. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you're that typical dude that just like, tell me how to say pickup lines to chicks in your language. All right, should we round it out?
123. We're going for the record.
I know.
Fucking
Let's round it
podcast.
out. Let's round it out.
I feel like
We're
it
a
wasn't
minute and a
funny
half.
enough again, but we
We're
covered some
good.
really important topics today.
Talking
We
about
sat in
important stuff.
Shangri-La, the new bench, holding up my fat ass.
Yeah, man. All right.
Abdul made it. Abdul made it to Shangri-La.
I made it
That's
all the way
great.
out here to Brossard.
Two of us together. This isn't fucking
It's still
Photoshop.
going? I
This
hope so.
isn't
It's still
CGI. This is
Should be still
Abdul
rolling.
and I in the same spot. Carolyn's here too. We didn't even acknowledge her presence all this time.
We did, man. It was great talking. It was good hanging.
Nice having. Let's go for a swim.
All right, let's get out of here, man.
Yeah, take off our bacon, no bacons t-shirts. We're gonna have to cut the film. We can't afford to replace these cameras showing my gigantic distended nipples.
All right, buddy.
Great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Let's do it again next week.
My